Good morning, Bonnie English here. Today I'm going to be running you through an oil and filter change on a motorcycle. In this case it's the triple on my Triumph Trophy, but pretty much all motorcycles are the same. So let's have a look at what equipment we need to do this job. Starting with engine oil. Check with your owner's manual to find out what type and quantity you require. You'll need an oil filter and a sump plug washer as well. In my case, 6mm hex key for the sump plug. I use some engine flush as well, and safety first, good pair of gloves. So your first job is to warm the engine up to normal running temperature. So I like to use an engine flush to remove all of those nasty deposits and sludge that could collect in your engine. Some people think that engine flush is a waste of time and money, but my Trophy has been lying idle for a little while over winter. I always use it and swear by it. So removing the oil filler cap, add the appropriate amount to the engine following the instructions on the back. Always a good idea to use a funnel so it doesn't fly everywhere. Replace the oil filler cap, and then you're going to start the engine and run it for roughly 5 to 10 minutes. So I've run the engine for a suitable amount of time, and the next job is to drain the oil. So grab yourself a suitable catch can, shove it underneath, but be careful because everything's going to be pretty hot. So undo the sump plug. I've just moved the catch can out of the way for demonstration purposes, but be careful, the oil will be quite hot. If you do drop the plug into the oil, don't worry, you can always fish it out later. So here we have the sump plug. Take the washer off and discard that one. Now this one's not magnetic, but some are, and it's worth checking. If you have little bits of metal on the top here, that's perfectly normal, but if you have bigger chunks of metal, that's a bit of a warning sign that there is something wrong going on in your engine. Finally, give it a bit of a clean up. When most of the oil is drained out, you will need to remove the oil filter, which is here. Some oil filters can be a little bit tricky to remove. They get a little bit tight sometimes. So if you're unlucky and you can't just adjust it by hand, grab yourself a wrench, or you can buy a spinner to do the job. So with the catch can underneath, carefully remove the oil filter. Allow the oil to drain. Like so. You can see that the engine flush has reduced the viscosity of the oil, allowing it to drain a lot easier. Top tip, to prevent lots of oil getting all over the place, use your glove, wrap it up like a parcel. Easy to dispose of now. Once the oil filter is removed, give it a bit of a clean around the housing. Using an old rag, not your best suit. So next, take the new oil filter out of the box. Remove the rubber O-ring. And it's a good idea to cover this in some fresh engine oil. That way you'll ensure a really proper seal, and then pop the O-ring back on to the filter. Having the oil on it will also make it easier to take off. So next, spin the filter back onto the housing, making sure that it's just hand tight. Don't gorilla it up, otherwise you'll never get it off next time. Next, replace the sump plug washer onto the sump plug. Make sure it's a new one. However, top tip, if you happen to lose your new one and you still have your old one, you can recycle it by using a heat gun. Apply heat to your old sump plug washer until it glows cherry red, and that will anneal any imperfections in it. Emergency measures only though. Try and use a new one if you can. And then once you've done all that, refit the plug. So just tighten it until it feels nice and snug. You can use a torque wrench to 25 Newton meters, but I just prefer to do it by hand. And now all we need to do is put the new engine oil in. Remove the cap and pop your funnel in again. So the capacity of this is 4 litres, and as luck would have it, it's 4 litres in here. So I'm going to fill it until I've used 3.5 litres, and then I'm going to check. Top tip, if you invert the can while you're pouring, it won't glug. So you can see in the sight glass here that I have filled the engine oil right up to the top line of the sight glass. So, funnel out and fill a cap back on. So final job is to start the engine and let it run for a couple of minutes. That way the oil can start circulating through the engine and into the filter. That will then cause the levels to drop slightly, I expect. So it's possible that I might have to then re-top up the oil slightly. I love the sound of that. Okay, so final thing is to check for any little oil leaks that might occur around the oil filter and sump plug, and finally check the oil level in the sight glass again and top up if necessary. If there are any leaks, just tighten up the oil filter or sump plug if necessary. I'm Bonnie English. If you found this video useful, please like or subscribe.